Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, a very large number of honourable members, almost 20 of them have participated in this debate on this bill which has been pending between the two houses for a reasonable period of time. Sir, as I had mentioned in the opening, this bill was first brought in by an ordinance on the 18th of July 2013. And in order to maintain the continuity, some of the provisions relate back to the date on which the ordinance came in. Similarly, an honourable member wanted to know as to why one of the provisions relates back with regard to sharing of information, relates back to 6th of March 1998. Now, this is in order to validate the sharing of information between the SEBI and the equivalent authority in the United States. The MOU between the two was entered into on the 6th of March 1998. And therefore, we have been exchanging information with them since that day. So in order to validate the information which SEBI has got from United States in relation to any market violations or its investigations, this particular provision has been related back to that date so that no person who is otherwise guilty can get advantage of the fact that the information was unlawfully obtained from the United States. It has been given the sanction of law itself. Sir, before I meet some of the other questions which have been raised, let me clarify the principal issue which a large number of members have raised is with regard to this 100 crore requirement. And the scheme of the Act as it originally has been, which has been marginally altered by one of the amendments which has been introduced. The provision that deals with these collective investment schemes is section 11 double capital A, AA. Now this mentions that any scheme or arrangement which satisfies the conditions referred to in subsection 2 shall be a collective investment scheme. Now in subsection 2, there are 4 subparts which originally existed. Now each of the 4 subparts relates to some element of contribution which has been made, pooling in of those investments and being utilized for a scheme or for an investment. Now, honourable members have raised an issue that even though there are large number of such Ponzi schemes or even genuine schemes, which are not Ponzi schemes, only one of them got registered under the Act. The reason was that the persons who framed these schemes would frame it in a manner that by definition it would not fall into one of the subclauses of section 2. So those 4 conditions which were necessary, they would frame a scheme in a manner which would bypass each of the 4 conditions and then say no law is applicable to us. The state legislations would apply to the chit funds. These schemes would not be a chit fund. But these schemes would not collectively or separately come under any of the 4 circumstances mentioned or the conditions precedent mentioned in subsection 2. Now, these conditions which are mentioned in subsection 2, for those existing conditions, there is no requirement of 100 crores. So, even if it was a 5 crore scheme or a 10 crore scheme, it would come under section 1188(2). Now, what do we do with those large schemes which don't fit into this, but are otherwise schemes which would require a registration? It is only for these schemes that this non-obstantive clause proviso has been added below section 11 capital A2. Now, this would be an exception to the above 4. And this reads, provided that any pooling of funds under any scheme or arrangement which is not registered with the board or is not covered under subsection 3 involving a corpus of 100 crore rupees or more shall be deemed to be a collective investment scheme. The word is deemed to be. Now, deemed to be is a legal fiction. It is not, but we are deeming it to be. So by a fiction, we are assuming it to be so. So the new scheme of the Act is that any collective investment schemes which falls in the first four categories of 11AA2 will be a collective investment scheme. But if somebody frames a scheme which is outside the language of those four exceptions, and he is pooling in more than 100 crores or collecting more than 100 crores, now whichever way he frames the scheme, that scheme would be covered under this proviso by this deeming fiction. So it's a very wide definition which would almost include everything which is not covered under the first four. Now, Mr. Naresh Agrawal very rightly raised an objection. What if some people pool their resources, let us say 200 crores, and start building a cooperative housing society in Noida? Or a similar investment, if not housing of any other kind of a cooperative exception. The Act takes care of this situation, just as subsection 2 deals with what is a collective investment scheme. Subsection 3 deals with what is not a collective investment scheme. So what will not come under the definition of collective investment scheme is also clarified under subsection 3. And the very first exception made is, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 2, any scheme or arrangement made or offered to a cooperative society registered under Cooperative Societies Act, or a society being a society or deemed to be a society under any law relating to cooperative societies for any such purpose, shall not be a collective investment scheme. So any form of cooperative exercise is not a CIS. Any non-banking financial institutions, we could all get together and collectively form a non-banking financial institution for our own members. It's not a collective investment scheme. A collective insurance scheme is not a collective investment scheme. A collective pension scheme or an employees' provident fund scheme is not a scheme under this Act. Similarly, some of these schemes which are provided for under the Companies Act will be dealt with under the Companies Act, therefore will not be will not be deemed to be schemes as collective investment schemes under this Act. Therefore, the Act now has been fine-tuned, and the new architecture of this Act is that if you have a collective investment scheme and were not covered under the original language, a wider language has now been introduced. If you are having a big scheme, you will be introduced. You will be included in it. But the exceptions as to what is not a collective investment scheme will also continue to operate. There was a second main question raised by a number of members.
भाषण में कहा भी था, आपने कोऑपरेटिव तो बता दिया कि कोऑपरेटिव अगर कोई है तो वो इस योजना में नहीं लिया जाएगा। अगर कोई कंपनी है और वो कंपनी व्यापार कर रही है और वो व्यापार चिटफंड का नहीं है, 100 करोड़ रुपए का, जैसे हमने कहा कि गुड़गांव में अगर कोई आज एक मकान बनाए, कोई फ्लैट 5 करोड़ से कम का नहीं है, 25 फ्लैट बनाए 100 करोड़ रुपए से ऊपर का हो गया और कंपनी में है, क्या उसको CIS माना जाएगा? क्या वो सेबी के अंतर्गत आएगा? नंबर 2, चिटफंड कंपनी जो स्टेट लॉ है या स्टेट लॉ के अंतर्गत जो भी कंपनी आती है जहाँ पे पैसा निवेश भी होता है, जमा भी होता है, तो क्या वो स्टेट लॉ जो है उसको सेबी सुपरवाइज कर सकेगा? मैं 2 चीजें का स्पष्टीकरण।
माननीय सदस्य नरेश अग्रवाल जी ने और स्पष्टीकरण इसमें पूछा है। चिट फंड कंपनीज को डील करने के लिए राज्यों के कानून है, और जो राज्यों के कानून जो स्पेशल लेजिस्लेशन चिट फंड के चल रहे हैं वो ऑपरेट करेंगे, वो इसमें नहीं आएगी। इसमें जो अपवाद दिया गया है, falling within the meaning of chit fund as defined under so and so of the Chit Funds Act will not be a collective investment scheme. So chit fund भी बाहर है। जो कंपनीज हैं वो दो प्रकार से डिपॉजिट्स इकट्ठे करती हैं। कंपनी कहेगी कि मैं विज्ञापन दिया कि जो आके मेरे यहाँ डिपॉजिट दो, मैं 9% 10% ब्याज देता हूं। ये सेक्शन 58 कैपिटल ए कंपनीज एक्ट में इकट्ठे करती है। या दूसरा कंपनीज एक्ट में ये एक प्रावधान है निधि कंपनीज का। उन सब के साथ नियंत्रण करने के लिए जो कंपनीज एक्ट की मशीनरी है वो ऑपरेट करेगी, और उसके लिए ये जो कलेक्टिव इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कीम है सेबी की, वो उस पर लागू नहीं होगी। यू कैनॉट हैव एन एनार्किक सिचुएशन वेयर मोर देन वन रेगुलेटर डील्स विद द सेम स्पेस। देयर कांट बी ग्रे एरियाज। स्पेस X must belong to the Companies Act and space Y must belong to the SEBI Act. And therefore, what comes under the Companies Act will be excluded from the SEBI Act altogether. The second question which was raised by honorable members was a large number of people may get cheated and the company may make profit out of it. The collective investment scheme company may make profit out of it. Now this disgorgement amount which is earned is deposited with the investor protection and education fund. Should it also not go to the persons who have been cheated? Why should it entirely be kept for a generic purpose like education? It must also go to these people. So this is based on a principle that no person can benefit out of a crime. He can't enrich himself unjustly out of a crime. No person can keep the profits of a crime. In this case, if it's a fraud in the name of a collective investment scheme, the person earning out of that fraud can't be allowed to retain the profits of fraud. Now, what happens to the profits of fraud and how is it to be dealt with is elaborately provided for in a generic section, that is section 11 capital B. And that section also is now sought to be amended with an explanation. 11B has the power to issue directions. Now, the power to impose penalties on such person, the power of disgorgement comes under that power of direction itself. And that power of direction, once the money is collected and it goes into this fund is known as the Investor Protection and Education Fund. It's also protection. Therefore, there are rules which are framed for the purposes of the Investor Protection and Education Fund. The section itself, section 11.5, which is being added, it reads, the amount disgorged pursuant to a direction issued under section 11B of this Act or section 12A of the Securities Act or 19 of the Depositories Act, as the case may be, shall be credited to the Investor Protection and Education Fund established by the board, and such amount shall be utilized by the board in accordance with the regulations made under this Act. Now, under this Act, regulations have been made, and Regulation 5 deals with utilization of the fund. And under that Regulation 5, there is a sub-provision, which I'll just read for the benefit of members. It will be used for education. It also says, provided the money is left in the fund after earmarking, sub-regulation 3 says, notwithstanding anything in the provisions of sub-regulation 1 and 2, amounts disgorged and credited to the fund in accordance with clause H of regulation 4 of these regulations, and the interest accrued thereunder in all cases, as the board deems fit, make a restitution to the eligible and identifiable investors who have suffered losses resulting in violation of security laws and be used only for the purposes of such restitution. So there is already a scheme that when monies come into this particular fund, monies will be used for restitution to the investors who have been cheated by the collective investment scheme. And therefore, the disgorged funds itself will be used for that purpose. The balance can also be used for the purposes of investor education and so on. A third question which relates, and a large number of members were concerned, with regard to an alleged misuse of power, or do they have the power to tap telephones? Sir, interception of electronic communications is not a subject matter of this law itself. So under this law, there is absolutely no power to tap telephones. In power to call for information, you can call for information or a document. You can't extend that power to tap somebody's telephone. So in the process to call for information, it may extend to calling for the CDR records. That is the call data records. You can ask for the call data records whether as a part of insider trading, A has been in communication with B or not, so that he has been parting with information. But as it happened in the United States in the famous case which has been repeatedly mentioned by the members, the power to bug telephones or intercept electronic communications is not given under this Act. It can't be given under this Act because we have a special legislation, the Telegraph Act, which deals with it. And that power is independent. It is with the authorities mentioned in the Telegraph Act. I may just reiterate that that power can be exercised under that Act, coupled with its interpretation by the Supreme Court, in certain set of cases. It can be done in cases of national security. It can be done for the prevention of a crime. These are the circumstances mentioned under that Act after taking the permission of the Home Secretary. SEBI is not being empowered as far as that purpose is concerned. So having mentioned these basic facts, the questions have been raised with regard to overlapping jurisdiction of Sarfazi Act and the various deposit acts as far as the states are concerned. So there is no overlapping jurisdiction. Sarfazi Act operates in an entirely different area. It's an act which enables the financial institutions and banks in order to issue a notice and take over whatever are the assets which have been mortgaged with those institutions in order to realize the amounts which are owed to banks and institutions. That has nothing to do with the deposits. It is quite likely that there may be depositors of that company who would be asking for their shares of money, but then the process of distribution of assets of a company which goes into liquidation or a company which is unable to pay its debts to various categories of creditors will depend on the law as to who is a priority debtor. And therefore, banks and financial institutions, workmen, etc., these are all priority debtors, and it's only then that others could likely get it. Sir, an issue has been raised whether is it mandatory for all PSUs to divest 25%? That has nothing to do with this amendment. But if a PSU is not a listed company, then it is not necessary. If it's a listed company, then whatever are the guidelines issued from time to time by the listing authorities, which is the SEBI, they will have to follow. So far, the provision has been that 25% shareholding of a listed company must be divested, refers to normal companies. For public sector companies, it's 10%. Tomorrow, if they come up and say it's 15% or 25%, that will be the different set of guidelines. Now, if any PSU wants to avoid that, it has to get itself delisted or go into the provisions where it's not bound by law. But if a company is listed, then you will be bound by the listing guidelines itself.
That is the right of the government to take that. But how SEBI is saying that this should be done?
You see, SEBI comes in, government doesn't decide the listing guidelines. SEBI decides the listing guidelines. So if a company, if a PSU decides to get itself listed, then it is bound by the listing guidelines. If it doesn't get listed, it's not bound by the listing guidelines. So PSUs won't have another set of law itself. So several other suggestions have been made. I have noted most of those suggestions. When the rules under these amendments are worked out, including some amendments which my learned friend Mr. Gujral and Mr. Chandrasekhar have made, we'll certainly go into those questions. But these 3-4 basic issues, which were issues of doubt in the minds of members, I thought I must clarify that so that there is no scope left for any misuse.
Okay, now a concern has been raised by many members on why the designated court only in Mumbai. And I would like the Honorable Finance Minister to respond to that question.
Sir, the original position under the pre-existing SEBI Act was, it gave a scope for an interpretation which could actually lead to a mischief. That interpretation was that if SEBI, in order to bust a collective investment scheme, which is a Ponzi scheme, wants to raid 30 places in the country, it would have to go to 30 different courts under whose jurisdiction those places are restricted. And if you have to go to 30 different courts, a lot of time, energy is spent, the offender gets to know what is happening, he removes the evidence, and the search itself is frustrated. Therefore, what my learned predecessor had proposed was that the SEBI need not go to court, and SEBI must go and directly search a premises itself. Now, both in the other house and in this house, members have expressed dissatisfaction against this provision, that this is a too arbitrary a power, that you are empowering an officer who is not even a police officer to start searching places all over the country. So one man sitting in Bombay can decide that he can search as many premises in this country. Therefore, this power has to be tapered down. I therefore discussed the issue with various stakeholders, including the SEBI, by which SEBI's functioning does not become difficult or impossible. The headquarters of SEBI is in Mumbai. And therefore, SEBI under this amendment will have a designated court in Mumbai. If it wants to search a premises, it will have to show to some judge that I have prima facie material to suspect that there is a violation. The judge is satisfied, the magistrate concerned is satisfied, it permits the SEBI to search. Okay. So it was a via media we worked out between giving arbitrary power to SEBI or a power under which, a provision under which SEBI has to go to 30 different courts. We thought this perhaps would be a fair via media, and I personally do believe it's a fair via media.
Okay, thank you. The motion. Yes, Mr.
Right, sir. I'm happy that he's giving more power to the SEBI. There is no doubt about it. But I would indeed very happy if the finance minister, even after look at the functioning of the SEBI itself, there are very serious fraud which just happen in a 2-kilometer radius of Ahmedabad, which is the largest, the share market and the capital market. If anyone, a company has to listed IPOs, they have to come to Gujarat and they have to come to Ahmedabad. Right. Dabba trading, which is illegal trading, and inside trading, SEBI has not been able to very effective to stop it. The entire functioning of the SEBI itself require overhauling, not only that, but a direct, the control of the finance ministry and so on, sir. Okay. That is my, and not only that's a innocent investors, which is in fact, the companies are being floated. Wait 1 minute, sir. The companies are being floated. After 2 years, the company don't exist. And the same director, they float another company in order to invite, and the SEBI, in fact, recognize those IPOs and initiate the IPOs. That is my, suggestion to the finance minister. Yes. So please look at this.
What is your clarification? Clarification only. You have spoken only debate, clarification.
I raised certain important points that in the course of the action by SEBI, if anybody by mistake, by information, wrong information, if they trouble anybody, harass anybody, what is the action you are giving?
Okay.
Number one. Number two also. Similarly, in the course of action, there are so many cases.
Yes, sir. I just want a clarification from the finance minister. Sir, I had raised a point under 11AA2. Now that you have widened the definition of CIS, what is the role? What is the position of companies, manufacturing companies that seek deposits from their retailers? There are many manufacturing companies that seek deposits for trade. These are trade deposits.
Gujaral.
Sir, I also have one small clarification. Under section 11AA3, it is silent on AOP. If there is an association of persons and they collect more than 100 crores to invest in some business, would they be part of the CIS?
Okay, Sri Pandian.
Sir, my query is, the special courts are for all purposes to take up all issues, including search and seizure, sir. That is the entire country. When such is the case, sir, segregating the power of search and seizure to the special court at Mumbai, sir, is beyond the territorial jurisdiction as in RBI Act, sir. Whether it is legally tenable, sir.
Bhupendra Singh?
Sir, specific, sir, RBI suggests SEBI action willful defaulters. Whether the RBI or the bankers has no teeth, so we need to have more teeth and strong teeth for the SEBI to look after the willful defaulters.
Okay, thank you. Now, Honorable Finance Minister.
ने एक सर्कुलर निकाला है जिसमें कानपुर का स्टॉक एक्सचेंज, बंगाल का और भी छोटे छोटे जो स्टॉक एक्सचेंज हैं उनको बंद करने की उन्होंने बात कही है।
Okay.
तो अगर ये सब बंद हो जाएंगे तो क्या इससे मोनोपोली नहीं हो जाए कुछ स्टॉक एक्सचेंज की?
Okay,
तो
that's
इस
all.
संबंध में क्या आपकी राय?
You got raised this. That's all, that's all, that's all. You got asked. You got a clarification. You asked. No, 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 no. You cannot have two clarification. Okay, okay. You cannot have
This
two
is about the penalty provision, sir. Earlier it was 1 lakh to 1 crore. Now, and for insider trading, 25 crores. Now it reduced 1 lakh, then per day 1 lakh, and maximum is 1 crore. Earlier it was 1 lakh and 1 crore.
What's your
Why it is liberalized in such a way, the penalty provision?
Okay, all right.
There's 22nd May, SEBI has issued a circular. Just I want through you, I want to request the Finance Minister to reply. Calcutta Stock Exchange, the oldest stock exchange, will be shut down, and all entrepreneurs from Calcutta will be forced to go to Bombay and to NSE or to get themselves registered and listed and pay 3 times the more fees and everything.
Honorable Finance Minister, that's okay. I allowed you. What? No, no. What is
harassment?
This?
Second is time limit.
Okay.
If there should be time limit.
All right.
Let me tell, sir. I should
reply.
initial debate. I told so many things. You didn't touch my
reply.
points at all.
Yeah.
I have every right to ask clarification.
You already asked.
My clarification is, I want to know categorical clarification. What is the time limit if investigation goes on, can't go years for together for any case?
Yeah.
Number 2, harassment, how to actually control if anybody takes undue advantage.
Okay.
Sir, a large number of queries have been raised. Now, the first one, which was raised by Mr. Subiram Reddy, has some relationship with a question which some members have also raised as to who regulates SEBI, or if there is something improper done by SEBI itself, or who regulates the regulators. That was one of the questions which was raised. Or what if there is a misuse of power by SEBI? Now, under the present scheme of law, in various areas where we allow market forces to operate, regulators have come up over the last 15 odd years. There are several reasons for it. As government exits its own control over these areas, for a variety of reasons you need the regulators, and you need to strengthen regulators. Now let us take a case like insurance. The government, through the public sector insurance companies, is an insurance player. There are private sector insurance players also. Now, government is a competitor and also a government. It can't be the rule-setting agency. It can't be the tariff-determining agency. So, you need an independent tariff-determining agency. The government in telecom is a player through the BSNL and MTNL. There are private players also. The government can't be a competitor and a rule-setting agency itself. So there is a regulator. In order to ensure that there is fair play in the market, you have the regulators. Now you have Reserve Bank itself is a banking regulator. So SEBI is a regulator as far as the securities market is concerned. Appeal against SEBI, or in case there is an unfair order or misuse of power, used to earlier lie to the central government. Then it was considered that that means SEBI becomes inferior to the central government, and therefore to withdraw the government or keep it at an arm's length distance, now headed by a retired judge, the Securities Appellate Tribunal has been created. So anybody has a grievance, he can go there. You can then challenge that before, and further petitions against the SAT may go to the government itself. Now, trade deposits that you have indicated, the nature of the deposits, both the questions Mr. Gujral and Mr. Chandrasekhar have asked, the nature of these deposits and these practices will have to be seen. Now, if they come within the definition that is the positive definition under subclause 2 and the exclusionary power under subclause 3, then it will be a CIS. But if it is an ordinary case that I, let us say, have an auto scooter or a motorcycle dealership, and I have made a deposit to the company which gives me a dealership, it's not a collective investment scheme. But there are certain schemes which are multi-level marketing schemes, which are actually shaped as marketing schemes, but effectively become collective investment schemes. Some of those schemes could be covered, and therefore in each case it will depend on the facts of each case itself. Why have we created a designated court and not a special court? I have already explained why a designated court in Mumbai itself was necessary. Now this whole question of stock exchanges, it's not a question of any region. Now the nature of stock exchange market itself has changed. Today you have the National Stock Exchange and the Bombay Stock Exchange. Now these are stock exchanges where the old concept of a stock exchange, where physically there was a building, share brokers would enter the building, and if you recollect, till a few years ago, every morning there would be trading, there would be shouting, there will be buyers, there will be sellers, and there will be a chaotic scene there. That age of stock exchange is gone today. Now, if you have a computer head at your house, you are a member of the stock exchange and you are working from there. As a result of which, a large number of those old-styled stock exchanges, physically those buildings are there, but some of them have become obsolete, and therefore, which are non-functional, there is an exit policy as far as the stock exchanges are concerned. This is not confined to a particular city. Now, some of the old practices remain, whether it's the Mumbai Stock Exchange or stock exchanges in any other part of the world that you go in the morning and if there's a new issue, you strike the bell. Those old conventions remain, but effectively the nature of stock exchange functioning is today entirely on the computer. You don't need a building, you don't, all you need is a membership. Those memberships which are very costly in crores, today their values have crashed because of the advantage of technology itself. Therefore, the idea of an old stock building itself is no longer so relevant. Lastly, sir, penalties under all these acts are fixed keeping the extent of the offense in mind. There always has to be a nexus or a relationship between the punishment and the volume of and the nature of the crime itself. Now, if there is a very small offense which is made out, you need not impose crores of penalty. You don't use a hammer to kill a fly. That's the principle of proportionality. But if there is a very serious offense, then the penalty itself goes up. If it's even more serious, then penalty is in addition to the prosecution which is to be taken. Now, these have been scanned by various expert bodies, and depending on the extent of violation, each one of these penalties has been today fixed. That's all I have to say. I commend the bill, sir, to the House.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Motion is already moved. The question is that Securities Laws Amendment Bill 2014, as passed by the Lok Sabha, be taken into consideration. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. We shall now take up clause by clause consideration of the bill. Clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 2 is adopted. Clause 3 stands part of the bill. There are two amendments, number 1 and 2, by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujarat. Are you moving? No. Both of them are not moving. Amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 3 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 3 is adopted. Clause 4 and 5 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 4 and 5 are adopted. Clause 6 stands part of the bill. There are two amendments by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujarat. Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, are you?
Not pressing, sir.
Not pressing. Not moving.
Not moving.
Okay. Naresh Gujarat?
Not moving.
Not moving. Amendments are not moved. I shall now put clause 6 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 6 is adopted. Clause 7 stands part of the bill. There are two amendments number 5 and 6, Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujral. Not moving. Amendments not moved.
Not moving, sir.
I shall now put clause 7 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 7 is adopted. Clause 8 stands part of the bill. There are 2 amendments by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Agarwal. Are you moving?
Not moving, sir.
Yes, Naresh Gujral.
Not moving, sir.
Yes. Amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 8 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 8 is adopted. Clause 9 starts part of the bill. There are 4 amendments, numbers 9 to 12 by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujral. Are you moving?
Not moving, sir.
Not moving, sir.
Yes. Amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 9 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 9 is adopted. Clause 10 stands part of the bill. There are 2 amendments, numbers 13 and 14 by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujral. Are you moving?
Not moving, sir.
Yes. Amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 10 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 10 is adopted. Clause 11 stands part of the bill. There are 4 amendments, numbers 15 to 18 by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Agarwal. Are you moving?
Not moving, sir.
Not moving. Amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 11 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 11 is adopted. Clause 12 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment by Sri Rajiv, number 19 by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Naresh Gujral, Sri Naresh Gujral. Yes, are we moving?
Not moving.
sir.
Yes, not moved. I shall now put clause 12 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, ayes have it, ayes have it. Clause 12 is adopted. Clause 13 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment, number 20 by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujral. Are you moving?
Not moving, sir.
You both have done a lot of work.
For no reason.
Amendment moved. I shall now put clause 13 to vote. Those in favor, please aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 30 is adopted. Clause 14 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment, number 21 by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujral. Are you moving?
Not moving, sir.
Not moving. Amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 14 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 14 is adopted. Clause 15 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment, number 22 by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujral. Are you moving?
Not moving, sir.
Yes, amendments not moved. I shall now put clause 15 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 15 is adopted. Clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 16 is adopted. I think you did not read clause 16, eh?
No, sir. We did not want to.
Clause 17 short part of the bill. There is 1 amendment. Again, it is there. Number 23 by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Agarwal.
Not moving.
Not moving.
Sir,
Naresh
I move
Gujral.
one amendment. Sir,
Yeah,
I am
Naresh
moving
Gujral.
one amendment. I am Naresh Gujral, not Naresh
I am
Agarwal.
sorry. I am sorry. I am sorry. I stand corrected. Yeah. So you should be more happy. So, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 17 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 17 is adopted. Clause 18 to 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 18 to 20 are adopted. Clause 21 stands part of the bill. There is 1 amendment again by Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri Naresh Gujral.
Not moving, sir.
Not moving.
Yes, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 21 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 21 is adopted. Clause 22 to 34 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye.
I think they were very good amendments.
Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 22 to 34 are adopted. Clause 35 stand part of the bill. There is 1 amendment, number 25 is Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Sri
Not
Naresh
moving, sir.
Gujral.
Not moving.
Yes, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 35 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 35 is adopted. Clause 36 to 57 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 36 257 are adopted. Clause 1, the enacting formula and the title stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 1, the enacting formula and the title are adopted. Now, Sri Arun Jaitley to move that the bill be passed.
I move that the bill be passed.
Motion moved that the bill be passed. Question is that the bill be passed. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Ayes have it. Bill is passed.